Thank you so much, Dr. Von Happel, and dear colleagues. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak to you as member of RUSI. As you say, we meet at a very critical time in the region. I think there's an opportunity to engage in a conversation on, I think, pretty much the issues that you outlined, because they are the pressing issues in the region. And before that, if I may just start, that we also value tremendously the partnership that we have with the UK, and this visit avails an opportunity to discuss how we can further advance our partnership in various fields of cooperation: defense, security, economy, trade, investment, education, among other issues. This is a solid partnership, and I think there's been a tremendous growth in our cooperation in the past few years, and that's something that we're keen on maintaining and pushing further away. The region, unfortunately, remains full of challenges and conflicts. Jordan has been at the receiving end of all these conflicts, and therefore Jordan remains very active in efforts to try to bring about solution to these crises and create the stability, security, and peace that would allow us to create the opportunity that's necessary and meet the challenges of finding jobs, of creating economic opportunity, bettering the lives of our people, which is ultimately the objective of all of us, wherever we serve. We want to provide our peoples with better lives where they have opportunity and where they live in peace, safety, and prosperity. Obviously, the Palestinian-Israeli issue is the key issue for us. It is the central issue, and contrary to what some people may have propagated in the past, it will continue to be the central issue, and it is the key to security and stability in the region. As you all know, we have not had any political horizon over the past few years. The consequences of that were enormously damaging. We've seen the PNA weakening. We've seen Palestinian people losing hope, and as a result, we're seeing an uptick in violence that is a reaction to simply people seeing no future, whether political future, but also from an economic perspective, their situation continues to worsen. The status quo is untenable. We've got to do something, and that has been really the focus of tremendous effort that Jordan has been exerting to stop the deterioration, to get the parties around the table and create a political horizon that would allow for re-engagement in meaningful negotiation towards achieving the just peace, whose only path, we believe, is the two-state solution, no matter what the challenges that the solution is facing, unless we're able to get the two-state solution, which would allow the Palestinians to live in dignity in their own state on the borders, on the lines of 1967, June 4, with the occupied Jerusalem as capital, living side by side, Israel in peace and security. That conflict is going to continue to re-erupt in cycles of violence that would destabilize the whole region. We have not seen that engagement for a while, and as a result, there was a complete, almost erosion in faith in the peace process, and the violence that we see erupting is, in one major way, an expression of the frustration and despair that people have. We've always warned that we don't want to get the Palestinian people towards a situation of having nothing left to lose, because if we get there, then things will go further south. We see the pressure on the PNA. We're seeing it crumbling, and we're seeing it losing credibility with its people. And I think one key issue to look at is that there is challenge from within the West Bank. There's a whole new generation of Palestinians that are saying enough, and they're taking the issues into their own hands. Against that backdrop, we've been working very, very hard in Jordan to get the parties around the table. We succeeded in getting Aqaba meeting take place, and Aqaba is, from a political perspective, is significant in two major ways. One, this is the first engagement of its kind between the Palestinians and Israelis. I don't think we've had it for almost 15 years, where you have the Palestinians and Israelis engage on a political and security level with regional and international presence. As Jordan hosted, Egypt was there, and the US was there as well. Aqaba was the beginning of a process, and we continued into Sharm el-Sheikh. As a political product, we had the Aqaba communique reinforced by Sharm el-Sheikh communique, in which we had heard language that we haven't had in a while. Both parties agreeing to respect previously signed agreements, working to end unilateral measures that undermine peace and provoke violence. Israelis committing to respecting the status quo, historical status quo at the Muslim and Christian holy sites, and the role the Hashemite custodianship plays in that regard, among other commitments. But as I said, it is a political product. However, the challenge is on how things evolve on the ground. And unfortunately, things have not moved in the right direction. Yesterday, before I flew to London, I was dealing with the consequences of the despicable statement made by a sitting minister in the Israeli government, Smotrich, who's, let's be honest, I mean, what he said is a reflection of the extremely dangerous, racist, radical ideology that he holds, denying the existence of the Palestinian people, and speaking from a podium that had Jordan as part of Israel, of an Israeli map. This is racist, this is destructive, this is radical, this is something that we cannot accept, and we reacted in ways that showed that this is not acceptable. And the danger here is that is Smotrich and others who hold his ideology going to dictate the path going forward? That is the quintessential question that we have to answer, and that is where everybody's going to have to shoulder the responsibility. The Israeli government has to shoulder its responsibility and make sure that we do not continue on this path that is only adding to the anger and despair and difficulties that we face. So we're working to de-escalate. We're working to achieve a period of calm, but in order to achieve that period of calm, the reasons for tension have to be addressed, and those reasons are unilateral measures that are undermining the viability of the two-state solution and are pushing towards an environment in which violence is thriving. So, and I can elaborate more as we engage in a conversation. On Syria, I just have to say that the status quo also is untenable. We have not seen any real effort to solve the Syrian crisis over the past few years. We cannot, as a bordering country to Syria who have suffered enormous consequences as a result, to continue with status quo politics, which has been the approach to Syria, to be honest, just manage the crisis. From whatever perspective you look at that, it is only producing more pain, more suffering, and more threats to the security of the region and to the well-being of the Syrian people. So, and again, we can go into details when we engage in questions, but that's a situation that we cannot live with. 3 million Syrian kids of school-going age are not going to school. We lost one generation, we don't want to lose another. We cannot double down on policies that have produced nothing but more suffering and more pain to the Syrians and threats to the region. And therefore, in Jordan, we're come up with what's called the Jordanian Initiative now, which is basically predicated on a political track led by Arab countries and based on the step-for-step approach, whereby we have clear benchmarks that will govern the political engagement that we'll have with the Syrian government, with a view to moving towards a political settlement that must, in order for it to succeed, address all consequences of 12 years of war, which are humanitarian, security, and political. We've been, and this is an initiative that we developed in coordination with our partners and our friends in the region. Very soon, we will be meeting as some of like-minded Arab states to see how we can operationalize that initiative and move forward. The region, as I said, remain hostage to many conflicts and crises that are having an impact on all of us, but we cannot throw the white towel. We have to continue to try to solve those crises, approach them from within a realistic approach that can deliver results, and so that we can get on with the business of addressing other common challenges, from environment to water scarcity, energy, job creation, and many other issues. I will stop at that if you don't mind, and I look forward to engaging all of you in a conversation that will go into the heart of the issues that we just discussed. And again, I'm grateful for the opportunity.